Ethan Hale did not expect his new assignment to begin with confusion, bright flashing energy, and a tiny alien screaming at him. He only wanted a quiet room, a simple bed, and maybe a cup of hot tea before he started his duty shift. Instead, he found himself living with a small alien engineer who was serious about rules and sensitive to noise. Lyra was no taller than Ethan's elbow. Her skin had a soft silver blue color, and her eyes were large and bright like polished stones. She belonged to a species called the Irlani, known for their delicate bodies and powerful bioenergy. Because she was small, most people spoke gently around her or avoided startling her. Everyone except Ethan, apparently. Ethan had arrived only 2 days earlier. The station was crowded, so he had to share a room with Lyra. She did not like the idea at first, but the station commander insisted it was temporary. Ethan tried to keep things calm, quiet, and polite. Lyra tried to follow all her personal rules, which included controlling her energy, avoiding surprises, and keeping her space clean. For 2 days, it went fine. Then, on the morning of the incident, Ethan dropped a toolkit. It fell from the top shelf with a heavy metallic crash. The sound echoed through the small room like a thunderclap. Lyra jumped, her eyes widening, and a bright wave of energy burst out of her tiny hands. It hit Ethan in the chest before he even understood what happened. For a second, he felt warmth spread through him. Not painful, just strange. Lyra's mouth opened. She stared at him as if he had just set the entire station on fire. You knocked me up," she squeaked. Ethan blinked. What? "You knocked me up," she repeated, louder, her voice shaking. "You activated an energy bond. You triggered my pulse." Ethan almost choked on his own breath. "I triggered your what now?" Lyra waved her hands in panic, small sparks crackling at her fingertips. "In my species, if a human shocks us at the wrong moment, our energy releases. It can attach to the nearest living being. That is what happened. You knocked me up." Ethan rubbed his forehead. He understood none of that, but he could see she was absolutely terrified. Her tiny body trembled as she held up a scanner. The screen was glowing bright red. "This shows a bond pulse," she said, voice high. "A real one. A shared link between you and me." Ethan tried to speak calmly. "Okay, so what does that mean exactly?" "It means we are connected," Lyra shouted. "Emotionally connected, temporarily, energetic alignment, and if someone else finds out, they will think I did this on purpose. They will think I wanted to bond with a human. They will think I am irresponsible." Her panic only grew. She paced in circles, muttering to herself, then suddenly darted forward, grabbed Ethan's sleeve with surprising strength, and pulled him toward the back part of the room. Ethan stumbled after her. "Where are we going?" he asked. "To my bedchamber," she shouted. "It is the safest place. No one can enter without my permission." Ethan had no time to object. Lyra pressed her hand to a round door which slid open with a soft hum. The chamber inside was small, but strangely cozy. Soft walls curved in a perfect circle. Blue lights glowed from the ceiling. Strange symbols floated in the air, changing color whenever Lyra walked past them. She shoved him inside and sealed the door behind them. Ethan stared. "You seriously locked me in your bedchamber?" "Yes," Lyra said without hesitation. "You cannot leave until I fix this bond. If you go out there while connected to me, the officers will sense my energy on you. They will ask questions. They will document everything. I will fail my duty as an engineer, and they will remove me from this station." Ethan sat down carefully on the soft floor. Okay, calm down. We can figure this out." Lyra sighed, her tiny shoulders slumping. "You do not understand. A bond like this is not normal. It is rare. It means we can feel each other's emotions. It means my energy can affect you. It means your heartbeat may match mine temporarily. Ethan's eyes widened. I felt something warm earlier. Was that the bond? Yes, Lyra whispered. It will fade slowly, unless something strengthens it. But if we do not separate the bond properly, it could become permanent. Ethan's breath caught. Permanent did not sound good. Lyra paced again, opening small compartments full of glowing tools. She picked up one tool, shook her head, tossed it aside, grabbed another one, held it up to the light, then threw it down too. Ethan watched her silently, not wanting to add more stress. He could feel her emotions slightly, a soft wave of fear, a trembling worry, something like embarrassment mixed with frustration. The bond was real then. She wasn't imagining it. So, Ethan said softly, what exactly do we have to do? Lyra stopped pacing. She turned toward him slowly, her large eyes filled with anxiety. We have to stay close, she whispered. If you go too far, the unstable energy will react. It may cause a shock, or dizziness, or even a temporary blackout. Ethan nodded. Okay. Staying close is fine. Lyra blinked, surprised he agreed so easily. She expected him to complain or panic. Instead, he spoke gently. Lyra, it was an accident. I dropped something. You reacted. That's all. We'll fix it. She looked away quickly as if she did not know how to respond. The bond allowed Ethan to feel a small wave of embarrassment from her, like a warm ripple. She climbed onto a soft platform near the wall and pulled down a screen covered in symbols. Her hands moved fast as she typed, scanned, and analyzed the bond. Ethan watched quietly for several minutes. The room was warm, almost too warm for him, but comfortable for her species. The air smelled faintly like clean metal and soft flowers. He had never been in such a small, rounded space before, and he wondered how Lyra lived in here every day. Finally, she sighed and turned toward him. I found something. What is it? The bond is unstable. That is good. It means it can be removed. But, she swallowed. We must remain in the same room until it fades fully. If we separate too soon, the energy might react strongly. Ethan raised an eyebrow. So I'm stuck in your bedchamber for... how long? Lyra hesitated. Possibly hours, or a whole night, or maybe longer. Ethan leaned back against the soft wall. Great. Well, it's not the worst room I've been stuck in. She looked at him, confused. You are not angry? No. It was an accident. You didn't do anything wrong. The bond allowed him to feel her surprise like a tiny spark of warmth. She did not understand how he could be so calm about something so rare and complicated. Ethan stretched his legs out, careful not to knock over any of her small devices. So, what now? Lyra stared at her scanner. Now I try to run a controlled energy release. I will remove the extra pulse that attached to you. She moved beside him, standing on his leg to reach his shoulder so she could scan his chest. Ethan tried not to move too much, not wanting to throw her off balance. You are surprisingly steady, she said softly. I was trained for emergencies, he replied with a small smile, though I didn't expect this one. A tiny flicker of amusement came from her, and he felt it through the bond. She felt it too and quickly stepped back, embarrassed. She walked to another corner of the room, adjusting glowing knobs and switches. Ethan watched her silently. The energy in the chamber shifted gently, like a soft breeze he could not truly feel, but sensed faintly in the back of his mind. After a long moment, Lyra exhaled shakily. The bond is reacting to your emotional state. My state? Yes. When you stay calm, it settles. When you worry, it spikes. So please, remain steady. Ethan nodded. Okay, I'll try. Lyra hesitated again. Also, I might feel some of your emotions too. So, please do not think anything too wild. Ethan laughed quietly. I'll do my best. For the next hour, Lyra worked steadily while Ethan stayed seated. The bond pulsed gently between them, letting small feelings pass through. Lyra felt his patience, his calm presence, and even a faint curiosity about her tools. Ethan felt her determination, her nervousness, and small bursts of embarrassment every time their eyes met. At some point, Lyra stopped adjusting equipment and looked down at her hands. "Ethan," she said quietly. "Yeah? I did not expect you to be kind about this. Humans usually panic about Irlani energy bonds." "Well, I'm not panicking," he replied softly. Her voice became even smaller. "Thank you." Ethan felt her gratitude like a soft wave, warm and gentle. He didn't know how strong the bond was supposed to be, but even this faint connection felt strangely comforting. Lyra cleared her throat and quickly turned back to her tools. "The bond should weaken soon. I need to prepare the final pulse release." Ethan nodded. "Tell me what to do." She looked up at him again, surprised. Her emotions flickered again, fear, hope, and something that felt almost peaceful. She gestured to a device that looked like a glowing ring. "Place your hand here." Ethan did. The ring lit up instantly. Lyra moved beside him and placed her hand next to his. The energy reacted, creating a small pulse of light that filled the chamber for a moment. It wasn't bright enough to hurt, just warm and soft. Lyra checked her scanner again. "It is working," she said. Ethan exhaled in relief, but then the scanner beeped loudly. Lyra froze. "Oh no." Ethan's heart jumped. "What now?" "The bond changed shape. It is not fading evenly. I must adjust the pulse manually." Ethan nodded. "Do whatever you need." Lyra took a deep breath and stepped closer. She placed her tiny hand on Ethan's chest, directly over the faint glow left by the accidental bond. The instant she touched him, Ethan felt another warm ripple deep inside him. Not painful, just strange. Lyra's emotions flowed again, fear, concentration, and something like nervous courage. The scanner flashed green. Lyra gasped. "It is weakening, it is truly weakening." Ethan smiled. "Good." But the scanner suddenly flickered, then turned yellow. Lyra's eyes widened. "The bond is unpredictable. We must stay inside this chamber. You cannot leave, not even for a moment." Ethan nodded, settling deeper into the soft floor. "Then we stay." Lyra stared at him for a long moment, her large eyes softening slightly. She finally whispered, "Thank you for not running away." Ethan felt her relief through the bond. He smiled gently. "I'm here." "Lyra, we'll get through this together." Outside the sealed chamber, the station hummed softly, as if unaware that a tiny alien engineer and a young human soldier were now stuck together, sharing a strange, accidental bond that neither fully understood. Inside the chamber, the faint, warm pulse between them continued to glow. And part one ended with both of them trapped inside her small, glowing room, waiting for the energy to settle, not knowing what emotional surprises awaited them next. The soft pulse of energy between Ethan and Lyra continued to flicker in the air long after the scanner lights dimmed. Though it was weaker than before, it still connected their emotions like a faint, invisible thread. Ethan could feel her nervousness rising and settling like calm waves, and Lyra could sense his steady patience holding firm like a warm shield. Inside the rounded bedchamber, the temperature remained gentle. The glowing walls hummed softly, reacting to Lyra's shifting energy levels. Ethan leaned back against the curved wall while Lyra adjusted a series of floating tools above her head. Her small fingers moved quickly, tapping symbols, sliding panels, and connecting tiny wires. Every few minutes she glanced at him, as if checking whether he was still calm. Whenever her gaze met his, she quickly looked away, embarrassed. Ethan didn't say anything. He didn't want to stress her more than she already was. But through the bond, he could feel her worry settling in deeper. She feared failing the process. She feared that he would be stuck here too long. She feared that the station officers would think she was irresponsible. He decided to break the silence before her thoughts spiraled again. "Lyra," he said gently, "you're doing great." She froze with her tool raised and looked at him slowly. "How do you know that?" "You haven't dropped a single device. You haven't panicked again. And you're clearly smart enough to handle this." The bond reacted. Ethan felt a warm rush of surprise and something like shy appreciation. Lyra quickly cleared her throat. "I am only doing what I must," she said, voice small. "But thank you." She turned back to her tools, but her hands moved smoother this time, less trembling, less fear. The scanner beeped suddenly, making her flinch. Ethan felt the spike of her panic for a second before she forced it down. She checked the screen and exhaled. "It is only reading the new energy level," she said quietly. "The bond is stable again." "That's good news," Ethan said. "Yes, but stability does not mean safe. I still need to disconnect it." Ethan nodded. "Then I'll stay right here. Tell me what to do." Lyra stared at him again, her large eyes full of confusion. "You never complain," she whispered. "Should I?" Ethan asked with a small smile. "No," she said quickly. "No, it is just strange. Most humans I have seen panic when they feel Irlani energy." "Well," Ethan replied, "I'm not most humans." The bond rippled with her shy amusement again. She turned away before he could see the tiny smile forming on her face. She activated a small hover platform and climbed onto it. The platform lifted her to eye level with Ethan. She always looked so tiny, even floating above him, but her expression grew serious. "We must begin the final phase," she said. "It might cause a reaction. You might feel a rush of sensations. It might even feel emotional. Are you ready?" "I'm ready," Ethan replied calmly. She nodded once and hovered closer. Ethan could feel her energy buzzing lightly in the air, brushing against his skin like warm static. She raised her hands toward him, palms glowing faint silver. "I will pull the bond from your body," she explained, "and send it into the chamber walls. They will absorb the extra energy." Ethan held still. "Go ahead." Lyra took a small breath, gathering her courage. She placed her hands gently against his chest again, right where the faint glow still pulsed beneath his skin. The instant she touched him, Ethan felt a soft rush, like someone had opened a window inside his mind. Not painful, not scary, just strange. Emotional waves flickered through him, colors he couldn't describe, feelings he couldn't name. Lyra gasped softly. "I can feel you more clearly now." Ethan nodded. "I can feel you too." For a moment, neither of them spoke. The bond pulsed gently between them, almost peaceful. Then Lyra closed her eyes and focused. Bright lines of energy spread from her hands, wrapping around the faint glow on Ethan's chest. The scanner beeped again, flashing green. The chamber walls absorbed tiny sparks as Lyra guided the bond outward. Ethan felt her fear tremble slightly. She worried she might hurt him. He felt her determination, too, stronger than anything she had shown before. "You're doing great," Ethan whispered. Her eyes opened, glowing faint blue. "Please stay calm. It helps stabilize everything." "I'm calm," Ethan said softly. "I trust you." The bond rippled again. Ethan could feel her emotions clearly now. Shock, gratitude, and something like warmth. Lyra looked away quickly, flustered, and sent the next wave of energy into the chamber walls. The pulse weakened, fading slowly. Lyra checked the scanner again. "It is working," she said. "The bond is almost gone. Just a little more." Ethan exhaled. "Good." But the next moment, the scanner flashed yellow again. Lyra stiffened. "No, no, 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 the bond is stuck." Stuck. Ethan leaned forward. What does that mean? The energy is clinging to one part inside you, she explained quickly. It is refusing to disconnect. This can happen when the bond tries to protect you. Protect me? Yes. The bond senses your calm emotions and thinks you want it. It is confused. Ethan blinked. So, what do we do? Lyra swallowed hard. We must reset the whole process. I need to strengthen the bond slightly before I can remove it. Ethan sighed. If that's what it takes, do it. You are not afraid? She asked, shocked. No, I'm here with you, and I trust you. Lyra's emotions trembled again through the bond. She was not used to trust, not used to being believed in so easily. She took a small step closer, placing her hand on his shoulder. Thank you, she whispered. Then she began again. The energy brightened around them, swirling in soft patterns. Ethan could feel every movement of her hands, every shift of her thoughts. The chamber lights responded, glowing brighter as she pulled the bond toward herself. Almost, she whispered. Her tiny hands shook as she focused. Ethan placed his palm on the wall to steady himself. He stayed completely still, letting her work, letting her feel his steady presence through the bond. Minutes passed. Slowly, the scanner turned green again. Lyra gasped. It is ready. I can remove it now. Then do it, Ethan said. She nodded, and with one final push, she guided the last strand of energy away from Ethan's body and into the chamber walls. The glow faded completely. Lyra stumbled slightly, exhausted. The bond was gone. Ethan caught her gently before she fell. She blinked, surprised to find herself resting against his hand. I did it. You did, Ethan said proudly. The chamber lights brightened to a cool white, signaling the end of the energy disturbance. The walls hummed softly, releasing the last traces of absorbed energy into the station's stabilizer grid. Lyra floated back on her hover platform and checked the scanner again, breathing a long, relieved sigh. It is fully gone. You are normal again, and I am not bonded anymore. Her voice trembled slightly. She wasn't sad, but she wasn't completely happy either. Ethan stood carefully. Good. Now we can finally leave? Lyra nodded slowly. Yes, the door can be opened now. She walked to the round doorway and pressed her hand against the sensor. The chamber door slid open with a soft whoosh, revealing the small shared room outside. Lyra took 2 steps out, then stopped. She turned back toward Ethan, her small face uncertain. You can leave the chamber, Ethan said gently. It's okay. She nodded but didn't move. Ethan, there is something I must say. He stepped out slowly, closing the distance between them. What is it? She twisted her fingers nervously. This bond, even if it is gone, I can still feel something. She pressed a hand to her chest. Not a real bond, just a small warmth, a memory of it. Ethan felt something similar. A faint echo inside him. Not strong, not controlling, just familiar. I feel it too, Ethan said softly. Lyra's eyes widened. You do? Yes. Maybe that's just what happens when 2 people go through something together. Lyra looked down at her feet. Maybe. But still, I am sorry for trapping you inside my chamber. I was scared. I know, Ethan replied gently. And I don't blame you. You should, she whispered. I made your day difficult. Ethan shook his head. Lyra, if I had to choose between helping you or walking away, I'd choose helping you every time. She looked up again, eyes shimmering slightly. Why? I am small. I am weak. I overreact. You're brave, Ethan said firmly, and you worked hard. And you cared about not hurting me or getting me in trouble. That matters. Lyra swallowed. Through the lingering warmth inside her, she felt his honesty. It made her chest tighten in a strange, pleasant way. She hesitated, then spoke quietly. Then, would you still like to stay roommates? Even after all this? Ethan smiled warmly. Of course. Lyra blinked fast, trying not to show how relieved she was. But the little spark of joy she felt was impossible to hide. Ethan sensed it even without the bond. She stepped closer to him, her voice very soft. Then I am glad. Truly. Ethan nodded. And for the record, I'm glad I ended up your roommate too. Lyra let out a small breath, almost like a tiny laugh. Maybe getting knocked up by you was not so bad. Ethan laughed gently, and Lyra's cheeks glowed blue with embarrassment. It means something else in human language, he said. Lyra froze. Oh no, what does it mean? Ethan shook his head, laughing harder. I'll explain later. She covered her face with both hands, mortified. Please do not tell anyone. I won't, Ethan promised. Their shared room felt warmer than before, not because of energy pulses or glowing walls, but because they understood each other better now. Ethan sat on the edge of his bed while Lyra walked around nervously, pretending to check her tools even though everything was fine. She kept glancing at him, then quickly looking away. Ethan finally spoke. Lyra? She squeaked. Yes? We're okay. You and me. Everything's okay. Lyra paused, then nodded softly. Yes, we are okay. Outside their small room, the station carried on with its usual sounds, unaware of the tiny engineer and the young human soldier who had shared a strange bond and come out closer than before. Inside the room, Lyra climbed up onto her workbench, legs swinging lightly, watching Ethan with calmer eyes. She whispered, almost too soft to hear. Thank you for staying with me. Ethan leaned back, relaxing for the first time all day. Always. And with that, the accidental bond between them came to an end, but something warm and quiet remained, promising that their strange friendship was only just beginning.